one thing that we can find from a dot plot that we cannot find in a box and whisker plot? Does anybody know?
All the incremental listed.
Yeah, all the individual pieces of what? Data, right? I can't find all the individual pieces. If I don't know all the individual pieces, I can't find the mode. I also can't find the mean. But in a box plot, the median is easy to find. Where is the median? It's in the middle of the box. The median is always given to me. Okay? What is the least and greatest values in this particular plot? 15 and 30. Okay? The least is 15, the max is 30. Find the median. Well, what is the median? 21. It says describe what it means for this data. Well, what does that 21 points represent? What does it tell you? Half of the people scored what? Half the people scored 21 or more. Half the people also what? Scored 21 or less. Okay. Find and describe the lower and upper quartiles. The quartiles are listed this way: Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. The lower quartile is here. The upper quartile is this point. So what is the lower quartile? What is it, 17.5? What is the upper quartile? 27.5. It also says to do what with them? To describe it. What does this 17.5 represent? One-fourth of the people have a shoe points of 17.5 or less. What does the 27.5 say? One-fourth has 27.5 or more. The interquartile range you find by subtracting the upper quartile and the lower quartile. So, what do I put in for Q3? What was the value? 27.5. What do I put in for Q1? 17.5. And I subtract it. 10. That means that there's a range of 10 points in this interquartile. Okay. The next question that's here is actually flipped over on the next page, but I wanted you to be able to see it. Why is one half of the box wider than the other half? So if I'm looking at the box, you know, this is kind of short compared to this. It almost looks like it's twice as big. Does it mean that there's more people? in Q3 than there is Q2? Why is it wider, Marcus?
Because of the median.
The median is right there, but there still goes all the way down to 30.
No, I don't think so.
Because everything past 21 is more, it's it up.
No. The range in this quartile and how they're spread out, they're further distance between each point. If there was 100 people in quartile 2, how many people would there be in quartile 3? If there's 100 people in quartile 2, how many people would be in quartile 3? 100. How many would be in quartile 4? 100. Just because a group looks shorter doesn't mean that there's a less number of pieces of data in that group. It does mean the range in that data was shorter, so they're more clustered together or further spread out as the box gets longer and longer and longer. But there's still, percentage-wise, in quartile 3, what percent of the people were there? 25%, just like there is in quartile 2, quartile 1, or quartile 4. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. If you turn it, I think it's just on the same page. They actually did an example using this box and whisker, and I went down to the reflect. They already did an example. They already compared shapes. They already compared interquartile ranges, and they did the comparison. Here they're asking which group has greater variability in the bottom 50%. So if I'm looking at the bottom 50%, which one has more variability? Group A or Group B? Group A does. And I can tell they have more variability because they go from what? 5 all the way to, what about? No, to bottom 50%, they go from 5 to 47, roughly. But Group B only went from maybe 7 to what? 40. So there's more variability in Group A on the bottom half. What about the top half? Which one has more variability? Right. In the top half, Group B actually goes from 40 up to about 67, where Group A only went from maybe 47 to 67. So there's more variability in that top half of Group B. Pretty good? Page 177. Here we're going to compare the shapes, we're going to compare the centers, we're going to compare the spreads. What can you tell me about the overall shapes? Lane? Okay. And with it being pretty symmetrical, I would say that Group A is distributed what? And Group B definitely is not as distributed evenly, is it? What can you tell me about Group A's range compared to Group B? Group A has a larger range. What are the centers? What's group A center? Yeah, maybe 258, 259. And what's group B's? Maybe 272, 271, somewhere around there. What are their spreads? Group A goes from what? Group A goes from what? Probably 170, 172 all the way to maybe 332. What's group B go from? What's the low end? About what? 188. Where does it end? $325. Can I find the average in either one of these? The mean? Can I find the mean in a box plot? In any box plot, can I find the mean? No. I can find the range. I can kind of see whether things are evenly distributed based on how the graph looks, whether it looks like there's one spot that's longer than the other. But I certainly can't find the mean, and I can't find the mode because it doesn't show me each individual data piece. But it's definitely easier to find where the middle is because it's on the graph, and it's easier to compare where most of the people are because inside of the box is how much of the percentage? It's 50%. So most of the people are inside of that box. Some of the people are below it, some of the people are above it, but the majority of the people are inside of it. And there is your assignment.